This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News.
See how MSUM students are hanging out.
Find out how MSUM students take their anger out on their kitchenware.
MSUM seniors round out their college careers with an 80s-inspired film.
But first, Minnesota State University presidents want to thaw out tuition freezes. Good morning and welcome to Campus News. I'm Hannah Norton.
And I'm Benjamin Reiki.
For the last 6 years, the Minnesota legislature has limited how much the state's colleges and universities could raise their tuition.
Now, Minnesota State University presidents are saying freezing tuition could leave students and colleges out in the cold. They say after years of cuts to higher education by the state, colleges need more freedom setting their tuition. Options include creating a set tuition for students who take a specific number of credits each semester until they graduate. Another is offering discounts to transfer students from two-year schools. MSU Moorhead President Ann Blackhurst spoke on behalf of the other presidents at a Board of Trustees meeting. She says the goal isn't to raise tuition, but to find a balance between quality and cost.
How do we make this very complicated puzzle work? The state funds some of the cost, students pay the rest of the cost. And what I can say about our faculty and staff is we think the state should pay as much of that cost as possible.
The Minnesota State Board of Trustees will meet with the state legislature next year to talk about funding.
Petitions demanding action are nothing new on college campuses, but at Concordia College in Moorhead, there is an effort calling for feminine products to be provided by school. As reporter Mary Jo Vick found out, petitions really do work.
Almost every female can tell a story of a menstrual emergency. The idea for free feminine products began years ago at Concordia's library.
Leah McCracken Anderson realized that there was a need for products because young women were coming up to the desk asking if they had any.
The hope is that these products will soon be free and available in all restrooms across the campus.
And so we wanted to put them in women's bathrooms, but also in men's bathrooms and in gender-neutral bathrooms so that any person who needs these products is going to have access to them.
Hovland took the cue from other colleges around the country and created a petition in response to a hygiene discussion in her Women and Gender Studies class.
Support was amazing immediately. I posted it online and within like 2 hours I had over 100 signatures, which is insane, just to see people kind of like latching onto it so quickly.
The petition has grown to well over 300 signatures and has resulted in a one-year trial period.
I think that's really the most prevalent problem, is just needing it in case an emergency happens or you're not expecting it, because it's hard to get to a store, especially if you don't have a car or payday isn't till next Friday.
Concordia already offers free condoms on campus.
It keeps everybody safe, it keeps everybody, clean, and being able to keep on with school and all that good stuff.
Hovland is working with facilities management at the campus to implement the service starting fall 2018. With photographer Robin Rohde, Mary Jo Vick, Campus News.
Concordia's Student Senate approved $14,000 for the feminine products to be paid from their Special Projects Initiative Fund. Minnesota State University Moorhead is taking charge in the battle against sexual assault.
It's on us to act when we think someone is in trouble.
As part of the campaign, MSUM students created a video sharing reasons why it's on them. The students encouraging people to share their ideas and strategies on social media about how to end sexual assault and violence on campus. Students are asked to use the hashtag #It'sOnUsMSUM. Then colleges urging people to get educated in order to make campus and the surrounding communities safer. It's On Us is a national campaign asking people to go online at itsonus.org and take the pledge. In the past 2 years, almost 300,000 people have taken the pledge.
Walking across campus, most students are not aware of who is and isn't battling anxiety. Reporter Derek Barkowitz takes us to meet an MSUM student who gets by with a little help from a furry friend.
We all have had stress in our lives, but for MSU music industry student Robert Bruce, the stress got to be a bit much. That's why he felt the need to get an emotional support animal.
So I chose Saint because at the Humane Society I went to, they have a cat room, and you walk in and there's cats everywhere. But this was the cat who walked up to me, sat right by my feet, and I was like, I'm taking him home, and I did.
According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, 40 million adults 18 and older are affected by anxiety. Hendricks Health Counselor Shanti Barron says emotional support animals are just one of the many ways people deal with anxiety.
Some people respond really well to medication, some people don't. So we really want to try to pinpoint, if we can, where those feelings are coming from. Once we can figure that out, the why maybe isn't as important as coping strategies and skills.
Bruce can't stress enough what his cat Saint helps him deal with.
Like from a scale to 1 to 10, I'd give him an 11, because every single day after class I'll come home, he'll sit on my lap, he will annoy me to death, but that's the whole point, right?
Derek Barkwitz, Campus News.
Barnes recommends students stay away from alcohol and caffeine to stave off anxiety. The University of Minnesota is teaming up with the National Loon Center Foundation for a first-of-its-kind project. They're building a conservation center in Cross Lake, Minnesota. It will help protect the area's loon population and natural resources, as well as provide education to the community. The National Loon Center is expected to open in 2020.
For most, regular bathroom hygiene is not a black and white issue. It's a brown one. While washing your hands is an important step when nature calls, reporter Anthony Fridgen and a group of researchers from the University of Connecticut found out how you dry your hands may be more important.
For Luke Sanderson, it's a regular routine.
All I just do is wash my hands with soap, and I grab paper towels because that's how I usually do it.
Do you not like hand dryers?
Well, is there something wrong with them?
With hand dryers like these, on its first use, fecal matter and other harmful bacteria end up getting left in the machine, meaning on its next use, that same fecal matter and bacteria ends up right back on your hands.
Ew. Makes me want to think to use more paper towels.
But it's not just students who think the switch from air to paper is a cleaner idea.
Yes. So with this study as well as several others prior to this, they have shown that paper towel, single-use disposable paper towel, does the work most efficiently.
The switch may even end up being required for those in troubled health situations.
Or has HIV, or has cancer, or is in a hospital setting, that person does not have a very strong immune system to fight off all of the infections, and that's where this becomes really important.
But for Luke, his mind is made up on how he chooses to watch his hygiene.
Well, I personally won't put my hands in there again.
Anthony Fridgen, Campus News.
MSU and Professor Somali Blondie says she thinks that changes could come to removing hand dryers from medical buildings, but more research is needed before that could happen. Researchers at the University of Minnesota have discovered shocking findings when it comes to grasslands and fossil fuels. They found certain plant species grew better in an environment with higher carbon dioxide levels when compared to plants in lower levels. The 20-year study consisted of over 80 plots of land with 2 different types of grasses. It showed what may happen to plants when levels of carbon dioxide go up with human activity. Grasslands cover between 30 and 40% of the land and will play an important role in soaking up carbon dioxide.
NDSU students who were in the mood for a cheesy treat got a chance to support a good cause. NDSU's Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity hosted its 4th annual grilled cheese feed. For just $5, students could chow down on as many grilled cheese sandwiches as they wanted, and they got the tomato soup to go with it. The event raised money for the Children's Miracle Network at Fargo's Sanford Hospital. The organization helps kids and their families pay for treatment at a hospital of their choice.
It's kind of incredible seeing like a group of 60 guys come together to help a bunch of people that they don't know. Putting in all their effort, like we've been working really hard at this, not just today, but for a couple of weeks now.
While the grilled cheese feed is over, the fraternity is still raising money. If you'd like to give, they are still accepting donations at www.youcaring.com. With only a handful of World War II vets left in the U.S., honoring those who served is now more important than ever.
The Fargo Moorhead Honor Flight program has flown over 1,000 area veterans to Washington, D.C. to view memorials in their honor. Reporter Ben Blanchard and photographer Jessica Colby have more on how MSUM students are helping to keep the tradition alive.
And go!
The honor flight was established back in about 2006.
We wanted to do something more local where we could give back to veterans in our own community, so we chose the honor flight as our community philanthropy. As a fraternity in a whole, nationally, have the Kappa Sigma Military Heroes campaign as our main initiative, something that each chapter raises money for. The money goes back to veterans nationwide through different focuses.
Since I joined in 2015, we've had 5 flights, and we've got 1 flight coming up May 20th. The flight costs about $150,000 to $160,000. But the veterans, it costs them nothing. They don't have to bring a dime.
Well, I think one of the biggest things is just for a lot of these guys to see that these younger college-age guys, really care about them and care about what they're doing, want to give and work and support, and really put that out there. So I'm really excited about that.
They get to see quite a bit while in D.C. Pretty exciting for them, and they well deserved. They are a humble group of veterans. These men. You get tears, you get smiles, you get stories. One gentleman was embarrassed because everybody was thanking him. He said, I feel like I should take off my hat and my coat because, what are they thinking? They're humble, and they talk about, they remember their buddies that they left behind. It's very emotional for them, but I think it's a healing for them when you get out there.
I think the guys did a great job, and I know that the honor flight really appreciates it.
The run raised $1,500 for the FM honor flight. Each spring day brings us closer to graduation, but some students are starting their ceremonies a little early. Rebel Marie, an MSUM alum and community activist for transgender rights, came to inspire students for the Lavender Graduation, a ceremony recognizing LGBT students before the official graduation ceremony. Marie wanted to let the students know that it was okay for them to be themselves without asking for permission or for apology. The Quad College graduation ceremony is organized by MSUM, NDSU, M-State, and Concordia every year.
At MSU Moorhead, 2 musical groups finished the term on a high note, having held their last concert of the year. But an increase in community and student support had the singers feeling extremely proud. Reporter Aaron Simmons took in the show and witnessed the excitement.
Music flowed out of the half-full Gaiety stage in the Roland Dills Center for the Arts in an emphatic and expressive way. Though the audience was smaller, their enthusiasm was felt. The first group to feel it, the Musical Theater Ensemble.
And it's kind of a show choir, but kind of not a show choir. It's a little more delving into part singing, which is great for theater, as well as choreography.
The ensemble was not the only group that performed. The second one required no instruments.
The a cappella group Soulfire is less theatrical and just pop arrangements of great songs.
For these musical groups, this performance was their last for the school year, so putting on an exciting show was extremely important.
I love being on stage, and it's my major, so I love seeing the audience members smiling and proud and happy to be there, and I love giving them a good show, so it feels really good.
And for Klein, being able to showcase each group's talents meant a great deal. But seeing people show up on a Friday night to watch them perform meant even more.
Especially last semester was the first time we've had this concert, and there was a good number, but this semester there's even more, and it's just really great to see community members and other students and everyone supporting us and supporting the arts. It's a really great feeling.
Aaron Simmons, Campus News.
Klein is currently a sophomore at MSU Moorhead and is one of multiple performers that sang in both groups at the showcase. As the school year ends for thousands in Fargo-Moorhead, one group of MSU musicians has been practicing for weeks to prepare for their final performance in the Glassroot Auditorium. MSUM's Jazz Ensemble, Jazz Combo, and the Guitar Ensemble joined together to liven up the hall with jazz tunes. Audience members filled the auditorium to watch the trio perform classic jazz works. The band had an extra drummer this concert, MSUM professor Dr. Alan Carter, who helped keep the beat going.
I think the thing I always look forward to the most is listening to the students, remembering where we were when we started, and realizing how far we've come.
The Jazz Ensemble has a concert on campus each semester and occasionally does off-campus performances too. Dr. Carter says he is excited for the next show in the fall.
Lights, camera, action. MSUM film students have been hard at work all year creating their senior capstone short films.
Reporter Shay Dolly catches up with one group to take a closer look at their 80s-inspired buddy cop film.
I don't care if Karnak's rap sheet is as big as Johnson's gut. He's not your case.
I work better alone.
I'm too old for this.
Gunchuck Danger has been in the works for over a year, with the cast and crew dedicating their time and resources to bringing the idea to life.
The story starts with Karnak stealing the futuristic superweapon Eileen, and that sort of starts off this whole chain of events of them trying to track down the villains.
Karnak, the main villain of the film, is portrayed by Junior Paul Bajin.
The character of Karnak is over the top, slightly flamboyant, power-driven, egotistic, ex-cop.
The entire film process was far from easy and definitely required a lot of physical strength.
It's very important to have somebody assisting you when you're running a camera on a stabilizer. You need somebody to swoop in and grab it as soon as the shot is over because those are heavy. Very.
Despite the hurdles, Lemaire doesn't regret a thing.
Very busy time, but a lot of fun.
Shay Dolly, Campus News.
Gunchuck Danger was one of 7 capstone films shown at the annual senior seminar screening last night. Now we turn it over to Tyler Ziegler for a look at this week's sports. Tyler, we are almost done here.
Yes, we are, and that means it's spring football season. And the NDSU football team is hot off the heels of their 6th national championship in 7 years. And hopes of bringing home that 7th title are at the forefront of the players' minds. Reporter Tanner Robinson shows us how the Bison are preparing for another championship run.
The NDSU Bison football team's annual spring game didn't just serve as a normal practice, but as a refresher course for both veterans and rookies alike.
The game was mostly non-contact, but some players say the slower pace will benefit them.
It was pretty hard not going full speed and having contact, but I know it's going to help us out coming to the season.
The Bison have had to deal with a number of injuries this spring, but head coach Chris Kleiman believes his team will be mostly healthy by the start of the season.
A lot of guys have had surgeries that we hope are cut loose when Kramer has his first workout right around Memorial Day.
A big question the team will address this offseason is at the backup quarterback position. Redshirt freshman quarterbacks Holden Hotchkiss and Noah Sanders are locked in a tight battle for the number 2 spot. And both of them say they are ready for any challenge put in front of them.
I got all the pressure on my shoulders. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to be number 2. I'm ready to fulfill that role and be that guy.
It's been 16 months, 18 months since I've strapped up the pads and played a real competitive football game, so it feels great to take that red jersey off and compete a little bit.
The Bison will continue to work hard over the summer as they prepare for the start of next season in the fall. Tanner Robinson, Campus News Sports.
The Bison will start this season on September 1st with a home game against Cal Poly. With spring finally being sprung, the Bison weren't the only ones who got to play. After the long winter, the MSUM softball team is getting its turn to catch up. Alexis Kennedy shows us how the team is adjusting.
26 road games and 5,290 miles later, MSUM softball was able to have their first home game of the season. But for seniors Megan Asham and Annika Novacek, they'll be finishing their senior seasons on the turf.
Yeah, my freshman year was the first year they had home games. The 2 years before that, they didn't have any. They couldn't get the fields ready, and it was just too cold.
I really enjoy the home games. I am liking playing on the turf, though. I think we're winning games, but we were not, that people didn't think we were actually going to win, and I think it's going well.
The weather this year made us have to focus a lot more. We have a lot of 6 a.m. practices, and then we swap and we only get an hour of hitting instead of 2 hours of hitting, so we really have to use our time in the field house as productively as we can.
Past years when we travel, that's when people's homework situation and missing class the grades end up dropping ever so slightly or a lot.
With so many hours on a bus, one can only wonder what they do to pass the time.
Last time on the bus, I played backyard baseball pretty much half the way there.
Do my homework, I sleep, pretty much just talk with friends. I think I just want to do the best I can and, see my team achieve what I know we can and go out with a bang.
And going out with a bang they will. The team is finishing their last 16 games of the regular season within 9 days. With photographer Chrissy Ness, Alexis Kennedy, Campus News Sports.
Softball wraps up the regular season this weekend with games at Winona State and Upper Iowa. A former Minnesota Gopher basketball player is headed back home, this time with a new role. Two-time Olympic gold medalist Lindsay Whalen has taken the head coaching job for the U of M women's basketball team. Whalen, a 4-time WNBA champion, will continue to play with the Minnesota Lynx for her 14th season and coach the Gophers at the same time. Whalen says being a Gopher again is a dream come true. She will be replacing Marlene Stallings, who coached for the U of M for 4 seasons. The MSU Moorhead women's soccer team had their hands full this past weekend. Hannah Norton takes us to the field where future soccer stars learn from the Dragons' best.
The technique may be a little rough, even clumsy, but this next generation of soccer stars is learning how to pass and kick their way through an MSUM soccer clinic.
I started playing when I was 3 years old, so it's been a long time, and this is how it all starts.
Ages range anywhere from 3 to 13 years old.
So we have the little ones that are just really learning how to coordinate their body and whatnot, and then I kind of have an in-between, so maybe like a 6 to 9, and then I'll have a little bit older where I can maybe do a little bit more challenging.
Starting out young helps develop a passion for the game, and passion stirs up some pretty excited kids.
I like soccer a lot better than I did last year.
The Youth Soccer Clinic brings a nostalgic feeling for many of the MSUM athletes simply by remembering the simpler times.
When I was in goal and they were shooting on me, they said it was too easy, and I was like, honey, just wait, just enjoy this when it is easy.
The clinic is more than just getting the fundamentals down. The goal is to get young athletes to dream big.
When I was 10 years old, I started watching my brother play, and then I met this actually soccer player who was playing collegiately, and I was like, man, I want to do that. And so I'm like, well, if I can spark that in someone else here, then, I mean, that's win-win-win for me.
It really was an hour full of energetic kids who love kicking the ball in the net. One day, they too might be playing on a bigger field. With photographer Brandon Larson, Hannah Norton, Campus News Sports.
Around 50 kids showed up to the clinic, and Kobitz hopes to see that number increase in the future. If you look around the FM area, it doesn't allow for a whole lot of rock climbing, but that doesn't stop a group of MSUM students from sharing their love of the climb with others. Reporter Sarah Erickson reaches new heights at the MSUM Wellness Center.
Keep it up. The first thing we tell everybody that comes in here is climbing is an inherently dangerous sport, but we're going to do our best to keep you safe.
This may scare newcomers.
There you go.
But advanced climbers just can't get enough.
You got it.
I'm just trying to have something come to me in terms of what I love about it. I love everything about it.
But mostly,
You got it, Brady. Good job, Brady.
the heights.
I climb because I love the thrill of being up in the air.
I think the most exciting part of climbing is that I never think I can do it until I do it.
With 21 different color-coded routes, ranging from beginner to advanced, there's a route for everyone.
Me and my roommate wanted to cross things off our graduation bucket list that we haven't done before on campus, so we came here on Monday. Really liked it, so I just wanted to come back in today and try it out.
Oh wow.
Even novice climbers
I'm rattled.
can find joy
Yeah, you got it.
in this sport.
Right by your right knee.
It's actually really fun to just kind of get up to the top, you feel a sense of accomplishment when you ring the bell.
Climbing isn't popular here, but this group of friends continue to share their encouragement,
Keep it up.
and passion for reaching new heights.
There's a hold right by your left hand.
Don't be intimidated by its height. It's not that scary. Go ahead and give it a shot. You never know.
With photographer Zach Hoffner, Sarah Erickson, Campus News.
During the semester, the Rockwell's open Monday through Thursday from 6 to 10 p.m. This is it, guys. Our last story together. I had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun, too. It was a good run.
Thanks, Tyler. Students at MSU are literally breaking gender norms.
Reporter Leah Backstrom shows us how students are shattering their frustrations.
We were angry at some people, and we decided to write on plates, go out to a dirt road and smash them.
Throughout MSUM's campus mall, there are echoes of frustration.
A public display of anger for women especially, but for anyone to come out.
Anger stemming from gender expectations.
It's a standard that like when men are seen as angry, they're also seen as strong, whereas women are seen as weak when they're angry.
A gender stereotype students want to shatter.
I've personally been told that I overreact to some things because I get wound up, or I get too frustrated, or I get too upset.
And breaking things unwinds the wound up.
This gives me, like anybody else who comes out, a chance to vent those angers. Write down something they're mad about, whether it be racism, sexism, finals.
Angers that instead of bottling them up, students are smashing them up.
In the most healthy way possible, in the most fun way possible.
At the end, all negative emotions were swept away. Leah Backstrom, Campus News.
The event was hosted by the Women's Center, Campus Feminist Organization, and the Wellness Center.
And that's it for this season of Campus News.
We leave you with another look at the MSUM Spring Music Showcase.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next year.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.